Mitch is the hero that the city of Minneapolis needed. And in a time when we only have questions, I can tell you one answer that I have. God needed a hero, and he called on Mitch.
A heartbreaking day in our community as loved ones, friends, and supporters said goodbye to Officer Jamal Mitchell. At today's memorial, a clear picture of who Mitchell was: a devoted father and family man, an eternal optimist, and a man who loved being a police officer. Officer Mitchell died in the line of duty on May 30th while responding to a shooting in South Minneapolis.
We have team coverage tonight of that memorial and the long line of people who honored Mitchell, and we begin with Kent Erdahl, who is live in Maple Grove. Kent?
Yeah, Chris, today's ceremony really began with a fitting tribute. We learned that Officer Mitchell was honored with MPD's two highest honors, the Medal of Honor and the Purple Heart, for his actions on May 30th. But don't get me wrong, that is not even close to the only reason why so many people came out here today. We saw such a stream of people, so many officers, friends, and family members here to honor Officer Mitchell, that seating them all delayed the service by 30 minutes. Once it began, we learned more about his heroism on the job, including his first heroic rescue as an officer when he ran into a burning home just days into his MPD career to help an older couple make it out safely. And it didn't stop at work. We heard about his tireless volunteering, dedication to his family and his community, and another act of heroism without his uniform right before he died.
The day before he was taken from us, he put on a pair of his prized Nikes and took his kids to the pool. He noticed while he was at the pool that there was a kid in the water struggling to stay above the water. Jamal jumped in, still wearing his favorite pair of Nikes on his feet, to save the child. Jamal was the kind of guy who saw someone in distress and everything else went out the window.
And speaking of distress, Officer Luke Weatherspoon, who you just heard from there, shared a story about why Officer Mitchell got into this career. He said the city of Minneapolis was in distress in 2020, and that inspired him to join the ranks and try to build bridges in the community. Officer Weatherspoon then challenged every officer in that service today to follow that lead and dedicate, in honor of Officer Mitchell, community building as part of their job. It was just an incredible sight. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks for covering, Kent. You know, hero can be misused or overused sometimes, but he's the definition.
Yeah, sure sounds like it applies here. What a remarkable man. Thank you, Kent. Well, hundreds of people lined the procession route from Maple Grove to MSP to honor Officer Mitchell today. Emergency vehicles from departments across the metro followed his hearse along the route, and we could see people on overpasses waving American flags. Morgan Wolf spoke with many people who came out to pay their respects. She joins us now live as well. Morgan?
Julie, just a beautiful display of unity here in Maple Grove, where I saw hundreds of people show up for Officer Jamal Mitchell's procession, and it lasted about 45 minutes. Many of those people say that they didn't know Officer Mitchell, but they wanted to be here to show their support and to honor his sacrifice.
It's important to come out here and line the streets so that the kids one day, his kids, will see how many people care.
A salute,
So that's why we do it.
to a shining beacon of courage.
I'm out here to say I support you, I see you.
These are the Minneapolis police, so they're his actual co-workers.
Thank you.
Families lining the streets for a final farewell for fallen officer Jamal Mitchell.
I'd sit out here in the pouring rain if I had to.
Some people arriving as early as 10 a.m.
Yeah.
My husband's a police officer. We're just showing our support, doing the best we can.
And some young mothers showing up not just for Mitchell, but for their family on the force.
Very scary feeling, but he's doing what he loves, and he's out there protecting people.
A sea of solemn, flashing lights.
Feeling a lot of different things. Sad is the big one.
As the procession passes through the parkway.
Thank you.
Red, white, and blue,
Glad that they can see this and show their respect.
flickering through the crowds of broken-hearted neighbors holding flags willowing with grief and gratitude for Jamal's sacrifice.
As a country, as a community, We need to stop being so divided. We need to come together. Not just at times like this.
A haunting tribute
It's overwhelming to see.
to a life taken too soon.
Doing what he was called to do, and I just pray that they all come home safe. And I pray for those that don't.
So many people that I spoke to today had a connection to law enforcement, one of those being a retired St. Paul police officer that actually lost a friend in the line of duty. Now, he told me that these processions, they never get easier each and every time that you have to go through a loss like this. But it is a step forward towards healing. Back to you.
Certainly too many of those processions lately, and that's a fact. Thank you, Morgan. Well, so much goes into the planning of officer memorials when tragedy strikes. Behind the scenes is Officer Brian Hubbard, the Deputy Chief of the Crystal Police Department and the President of the Law Enforcement Memorial Association. Despite being acutely aware of the dangers they face, he says officers remain prepared to answer the call.
Even in the middle of tragedy, even last Thursday when this was going on, and as people, as officers learned that Officer Mitchell passed away, men and women are still putting the uniform on to be a first responder. They're still answering calls even though that's fresh in their head. And again, that says something to me about this being a higher calling. So is it a tough time? Yes, it's always been a tough time in law enforcement, but the men and women that I'm honored to work alongside answer that call every day.
If you would like to help Mitchell's family, the Law Enforcement Labor Services Benevolent Fund is accepting donations on their behalf. We have a link to it at KARE11.com.